What's up, everybody? I'm First Warren 5 Meteorologist Warren Sears. I have Janae Hancock with me. Also,
Hello.
Janae is going to monitor our Facebook Lives and our chats. If you have any questions, she's going to chime in, and we're going to try to answer any questions that you have for our afternoon thunderstorm potential here over the next few hours. So we are dry for now. We're sort of waiting for the event to unfold here shortly. So again, Janae will keep an eye on our Facebook comments, and
I'll also check on YouTube as well. So if you have any comments on YouTube, we'll be sure to point them over to Warren.
Beautiful. All right, so let's get into that forecast here. We are again dry for now. Those thunderstorms are going to move in likely after another hour to 2 hours, starting from the west, moving east. All storm types will be possible with this next batch that moves in. So your lunch right now is going to be and continue to stay dry through the heart of the afternoon, heading home from school, maybe even that early evening commute. Heads up, because we do have that severe storm risk that's back. But by the time we get into sunset and the late evening, I think a lot of this is actually out of here. Thunderstorms will exit. So it's really the heart of the afternoon that we need to watch for. And if you are just joining us today or haven't caught any of our earlier coverage, we do have a significant risk for strong to severe thunderstorms out there on your Tuesday afternoon. Level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk. That is going to be here in the Kansas City metro. Pretty much everybody in eastern Kansas and then into Missouri as well. That 4 out of 5 risk is for northern Missouri from St. Joe to Cameron up to Chillicothe and then points to the north to the Iowa state line. That is where we think confidence is even a little bit higher to have some stronger to severe thunderstorms. So again, this is a very respectable threat today. All storm threats will be possible. All storm hazards will be possible as we get into the actual event. Right now, what we're waiting on is this cold front that's coming in from the west, and it is sparking up some activity in eastern Nebraska right now near the Omaha area, but nothing for us on the front throughout Kansas just yet. As it continues to push to the east, though, across the Sunflower State, you'll likely start to see some cumulus clouds bubble up on that front, and then eventually we should get a few cells to get going as it gets closer to eastern Kansas. We think that storms could fire up pretty much overhead of our viewing area and then push to the east and strengthen. So again, we have a little time still to closely monitor this front coming in. Right now, just a little bit of cloud coverage. It's really warm and really humid out there. I'm sure that you've noticed. We do have a tornado watch for the counties in orange. Again, that is going to be in eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. Also, Atchison, Missouri, you have the tornado watch. This is going to be for some daytime thunderstorms you saw across Nebraska right now, but we will likely see some sort of watch get issued into the afternoon for us, but we don't know yet what it's going to be, a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch, and we don't really have a whole lot of information just yet, but as soon as a watch gets issued, we'll let you know. So again, a couple hours still away. Let's look at forecast track here as we get into the 2 to 4 p.m. time frame. And you can see forecast track does want to isolate and pinpoint one or two little cells by about 2 to 3 o'clock. Those are what we call discrete cells, and they will likely just start as quick little showers, but should grow fast and become strong very quickly in the matter of a few minutes. So that's what we'll be watching on early on near I-35 and points to the east is my bigger concern today for some strong to severe thunderstorms. So the discrete cells early on in this 2 to 4 p.m. time frame, a little more concerned with a large hail threat, and we cannot rule out an isolated tornado or two. Once these storms start to linearize, grow into a line throughout the course of the afternoon and early evening, that would turn into more of a wind threat out there for, again, mainly pushing onto the Missouri side. Now, you still can get embedded tornadoes within this, but that's kind of the progression that we should see. A lot of our smart computer models are in good agreement. The atmosphere is ready to go. We have the ingredients in place with this stronger cold front coming in, and that is kind of the progression from west to east into the 4-5 o'clock time frame. By then, a lot of this should be shifting into central Missouri by 4 to 6 p.m. or 4 to 7 p.m. And then by the time you get to sunset and beyond, I think a lot of this is gone completely. And the front comes through, and you'll notice winds start to shift out of the west-northwest. Cooler air will funnel in, and drier air will funnel in as well. It will not be near as humid tonight or in through your day tomorrow. So really, even late I'd say mid to late evening plans should be clear of this severe storm risk. So we're pretty much eyeing now to about 7 p.m. as our time frame there. But you saw your window, just depending on where you live, is going to be pretty small as the front pushes through. Once you feel the cooler air and the wind shift, your severe threat will be done. And then overnight, all this is out of here, and we should have actually a really nice Wednesday in store. So right now, conditions, again, are favorable. We've got 80s. It's warm. It feels like summer. It's very humid. You've noticed there's a lot of moisture back in the atmosphere today. And so those are our main components that we will need here to get some thunderstorms to get going. So it is 105 right now. Maybe by 2 o'clock, there's a small risk that we could have a bubble up storm or two, but I would say closer to 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock is that the heart of this event once thunderstorms get going. So Royals forecast for this evening. I know a lot of you are heading out to the K. Royals are playing some good ball right now. I do think that severe risk will pass Kauffman Stadium by the time we get to game time, and we shouldn't have any issues. I want to keep that small chance just in case something lingers around. But you'll notice that northwest breeze will create a little bit of a cooler evening, especially relative to what we had this afternoon. So you might want a light jacket to bring with you just in case for the end of the game if you are heading out to the K. So there's a little bit of an update that I have for you. If you missed it, we are waiting on this cold front that's coming in from the west, and that's the big boundary there between the two air masses. We have dry and cooler air on the west side of the cold front and very humid and warm air on the east side of the front, which is where we all are right now. You can see.
Warren, I want to jump in really
absolutely.
fast. We do have a comment coming in from Matthew asking what's the timing for Olathe, Kansas.
Okay, yeah. So the Kansas side, I would say you're a little bit earlier in this event. Thunderstorms should fire up pretty much on the front. I think overhead along I-35 is our general locator that we're going for this afternoon. But I would give it at least another probably 2-ish hours, and so let's say 2 to 3 to 4, kind of in that sweet spot in the heart of the afternoon. That's when we think that some of this could start to fire up here locally, and that's pretty much for everybody in the metro. That time frame for Olathe, that time frame is similar to what it would be in Lee Summit and what it would be up near the airport. It's all kind of under the same umbrella because we don't know exactly where those first few thunderstorms are going to bubble up, but we do think that time frame, still give it at least another hour, but I'd say probably 3 to 5. I know I just said 2 to 4. I would say 2 to 4, 3 to 5-ish, heart of the afternoon, early evening. Let's just keep an eye to the sky and watch out. What I would say early on with the thunderstorm development is it will be very isolated. It will be more mist than hit, but those storms should be able to become very strong. So it could be one of those things where, the airport, let's just say, for example, the airport has a really strong thunderstorm with ping pong ball size hail, but those of you in Olathe might be completely dry just looking at the cumulonimbus clouds growing. So that's the environment we should see early on, very spotty, but very strong. And then after the state line, after I-35 into our eastern counties, that's when we could see the better chance for more of a line to develop. So that's sort of the time frame for everybody in eastern Kansas and western Missouri. And that 2 to 5 time frame is what we'll be watching. I think 2 might be a little on the early side, but just to be safe, let's say 2 to 5. Any other questions coming in just yet, Janae?
Oh, we have a flood of questions
coming
in for you, Warren. So we do have a question coming in from Noah saying that they will be driving home from Marshall to Higginsville at around 6 to 6:40. Should I wait it out at work, or should I be good to drive?
Okay, that is a good question. Let's look at our forecast track. And again, this is a computer model, guys, and so they're not perfect, but they do a pretty nice job. And we are indicating by, let's say, 6 to 7. I think the thunderstorms could be knocking on your doorstep around that time in the Marshall to Higginsville area. So if you can, maybe a little early, or I would say wait it out a bit until we get the front to pass through your neighborhood. Better safe than sorry in this instance. Again, these thunderstorms will be packing quite the punch. Best case scenario, you're clear to go and you don't have storms around you, but model guidance is suggesting that part of our viewing area from 6 to 7 will have some noisy and potentially strong thunderstorms. Great question.
And I think the biggest question right now, it seems like a lot of people are going to be going to the Royals
Mm-hmm.
game. I don't know if you want to touch on that forecast once again.
Yeah, I'll show it again, and of course, I know people are joining from time to time. So, the Metro's opportunity for the strongest thunderstorms will likely be done by 6 p.m. and the game is at 6:40. So, I actually think we're in a good situation here. Towards the beginning, warm ups as you're heading out to the K. Maybe be mindful. Watch for some thunderstorms around. I'm hoping a lot of this is actually through and clear the Metro by that point. But most of the game, as of right now, looks to be dry because of the progression, the fast-moving nature of this front, and the fast-moving nature of the thunderstorms. I actually think we'll be on the backside by the time we get to first pitch. Now, I will say it is super hot and summer-like out there right now and very humid. You will start to feel some effects of the front. The northwest wind kicks in, and we're talking, dropping through the 70s throughout the course of the game. So maybe a little cooler than what we've had. So you might want a light jacket just because of that northwest wind coming in. So again, if you're heading to the K for the Royals game this evening, I'm not saying stay home because I really don't think that is my biggest concern is before the game, that time frame between 2 to 5 p.m. for the metro area, maybe up into 6 on the eastern side of the metro, but by then should have a lot of this hopefully clearing out.
If you have any questions down below, it's Janae Hancock.
Let me switch back over to show Janae.
Any questions, or if you maybe have some concerns, I am checking our Facebook and YouTube live comments. So as soon as you drop them in, I will tell Warren, and he will hopefully be able to answer that for you all. With that being said, I am taking a look at the KCI airport right now, and if you are planning to go to the airport, or maybe you have some friends or relatives that will be flying in, a lot of flights have been delayed, or flying out, I should say. A lot of them have been delayed. Just take a look at your flight information before heading out. Again, more questions, Warren, about going to the game, tailgating at the K at around 5 p.m. That is coming in from HD. That's his name.
I would say for tailgating purposes, anything before the game, let's just be mindful. I'm hoping by 5 to 6 a lot of this is through and the front's through and our threat will fall off. You can track our First Warn 5 weather app or any sort of radar app that you have. There should be pretty much one opportunity and one batch for this to come through. So it's going to start in small discrete little cells, and that would be more miss than hit. I do expect as we go through the course of this evening, it will grow into more of a line and push through the region east of here as a line. But in the metro, anything that does pop up will probably be very spotty but strong. So, again, as I made the analogy earlier, the airport could have a thunderstorm with, ping pong ball size hail, and those of you down in DeSoto could be completely clear and dry. So that's probably the nature early on, the type of environment we'll see as this begins, but then more of a line of thunderstorms, and I'll show you again here on Forecast Track of the representation of this. And a lot of our model guidance is in good agreement. So after 2 to 3, let's watch for a few of these little isolated cells. And I've been really pushing all day. I think those along or near the I-35 corridor, yes, that still could mean over to St. Joe, but you get the general gist of what I'm saying. That near the 35 corridor and then points to the east will have the higher risk for these stronger to severe thunderstorms late this afternoon. But you can even see here by 5, or that's 4 there, growing to more of a line from this smaller cell type of environment to growing to more of a line. And then that was at 4, by 5, 6 o'clock, this is into more of our eastern counties. Even if this is delayed a little bit an hour, I still think by 5, 6 o'clock, we should be clearing our severe threat in the Kansas City metro, and especially on the Kansas side by 5 and 6. So tailgating, I don't want to say don't do it, but I will say around that 5 o'clock time frame, we could have a little bit of activity lingering, but a lot of this should be pushing to the east by then. That's our best guess right now. Obviously, the atmosphere has a mind of its own sometimes, and none of these storms have developed yet. So that's another thing too. I like to make the analogy, when you put a pot of water on the stove, you know you're going to get bubbles when you start to boil your water, but you don't know exactly where that first bubble is going to pop up. The atmosphere is the exact same way in a situation like this. So we know the ingredients are there. We know we're going to get bubbles. We just can't exactly pinpoint until they start forming where they're going to be. So that's why the severe risks from the Storm Prediction Center are pretty wide. As long as the ingredients are there, that's why some of these, convective zones are so large. There could be a severe thunderstorm that pops up in Olathe, but those of you in Atchison, you're still under this risk, but we know the conditions are there, but that doesn't mean that you're for sure going to get a thunderstorm. We just know that in this zone somewhere, there will be some potent, severe cells getting to go up. And they don't put these, what I will say too, the Storm Prediction Center has a ton of insanely smart meteorologists. They don't put these level 4 out of 5 risks up just for giggles, you know what I mean? These are respectable risks. We have the ingredients in place, and even the enhanced 3 out of 5 risks. They don't just put those out lightly. So again, this is something to take seriously, but I'm hoping that by the time we get into the heart of the evening, a lot of you can carry on with your plans. Any other questions, Janae?
Just 2 comments
Okay.
that are pretty much alike. Mark and Amy saying that they are definitely hearing the wind right now in KCK. We do have a question coming in from Savannah saying, so we are not thinking the line is forming over Kansas City, Missouri, just east of it. That's coming in from
Yeah, I would say what I think is going to happen is a couple of isolated, discrete cells, still very strong, because early on when you get these little pockets like this, these little cells to get going, that actually poses a hail threat, and it actually poses a tornadic threat as well, because they can thrive a little bit better on their own. They can thrive a little bit better without other thunderstorms in the line, competing and stealing ingredients and whatever. So yes, I think early on this will likely be more of a couple little cells on the front, and then probably linearizing along 35 and east. Probably east. That's my gut. My gut's kind of going more of a strong formation of this line just to the east of the metro, but that doesn't mean that our metro chance is 0. And I know I've talked through this a few times already, but that's my latest gut feeling here, is that we'll see a couple of cells first and then a line forming either as it's moving through Kansas City or right after on the eastern side.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, it
Cool.
doesn't look like I'm going to give our viewers just a few more seconds to drop some new questions
Yes.
For Warren before we hop off of this live stream.
Yeah, and Janae, we have a lot of. We're in a little lull from our on-air shows right now. That's why we wanted to give you a little update on the streaming platforms just before things get going here. But we do have a 3:30, we have a 4, we have a 5, we have a 6, and we have our new 6:30 weather show. So we are going to be on air already for our evening news. So we already have you covered. We've got 3 meteorologists, in-house this afternoon. So we've got you covered. We've got you prepared. We'll take care of you as soon as thunderstorms get going. We'll let you know if there's any tornado warnings. We'll be on until that tornado warning is expired. And that's, I know, always something we get some comments about. But you will want that coverage for your neighborhood if it happens to you. So that's my biggest thing that I take away from that. I know sometimes it's annoying when we cover up your programming if it's dry and sunny out in your neighborhood, but
you'd rather be safe than
absolutely
sorry.
Yeah. We I know that everyone will want that same attention and coverage when it's in their area that's under a big risk. So we've got you covered this afternoon, and thank you all for jumping on. And I think, are we good? Do we have anything new coming in?
I think we're all good. What I will encourage our viewers to do, like Warren said, we are live on our social media platforms right now, and it will be posted on our website. So what you can do is kind of circle back, and Warren pretty much answered a lot of different questions as far as evening plans. So I would definitely encourage you all to go back and take a listen to what he said, and maybe we'll circle back a little bit later into your comments and answer a few of your questions.
Yeah, and you can reach out to me directly as well, Meteorologist Warren Sears on Facebook and X, and I can try to answer some of those questions for you as well.
And really fast before we go, like we said, our coverage will continue. Maddie says, Warren, hopefully you brought all of your Red Bull and coffee because you're in for a long night. So
hopefully with this one thing, we were were just talking. We are like, thankfully, this is actually a little more, daytime stuff.
Right.
I know a lot of people are out and about during the day, but it's easier to spot severe weather during the day. Sometimes when you get into those nocturnal, nighttime events, it is so hard to see rotation, and it gets real dangerous after dark. So I'm glad that at least we'll have good eyes on the ground today of, these storms popping up. Hopefully, Maddie, not too late of a night for us. But
like the other night for you.
Yes. It's been busy, but you know what? It's that time of the year, and it's why, Janae, a lot of us get into meteorology. This is, severe weather is impactful in a lot of ways, but a lot of us are fascinated by it as well. So, but yeah, all right, everybody, thanks for jumping on. Again, time frame for thunderstorms likely after 2, but let's say probably a little closer to 3 to 5 p.m. for some of the strongest stuff to get going. And we'll update you as this event progresses. All right, take care, everybody.